What up, everybody? It's your boy Random News, and I want to welcome you to episode 2 of the Darkside of J4K. Now, in this episode, we're going to be taking a look at Sherry Shriner. Now, I came across Sherry Shriner's YouTube page while researching the Kanika case, and she has some real questionable videos up. If you look at some of the titles of these videos, you'll see why I chose her for this particular episode. Now, the thing about it was, everything on her page looked pretty crazy, and she was into conspiracies and stuff before the Kanika case. But it was one particular video that made me go, okay, this is getting kind of weird. So she claimed to interview Satan himself, Lucifer, and this is a whole interview. So I Googled her, and I really was not ready for what I found. This sent me down a rabbit hole so dark and so crazy that you couldn't write this if it was a movie. So let's check it out. Now, Sherry Shrine has been around for a while. This is her website. She's also self-published a bunch of books, 3 to be exact, and they were on aliens and aliens on the internet, and her most famous accomplishment, and that was interviewing the devil himself. She also had a radio show that she would do weekly shows talking about these type of conspiracies and lizard people and all types of insane stuff. Now, the more I researched this lady, the more things just started getting weird. I started noticing a bunch of stuff that didn't seem right. Like, why is it the only other picture I can find of her was this picture of her as a kid wearing a Mason hat? And why is it that she has about close to 7 different websites talking about all types of messed up stuff? Aliens, lizard people, presidents, anything you can think of that's out there, she's pretty much talking about it. But then I noticed something on one site, that little excerpt there, that made me realize something that I should have seen from the start. She's not a conspiracy theorist. She's a religious cult leader. I listened to her radio show. Listen to some of the quotes she got here. All this is taken straight from her radio show. You can go look up her radio show and listen to the stuff yourself. She swears to be a daughter of God himself, and that she runs her own planet and all this other stuff. She's a religious cult leader, and she got a bunch of people that follow her, and you're going to see that up and coming in this video. But she also has enemies. Now, this set here is called the Almighty One. Their ministry who set out to take down Sherry Shriner. Not because she's a false prophet, because they're false prophets, but because they think that Sherry Shriner herself, who thinks that lizards are taking over the world, is a lizard, and she's an alien. Now, I know this all sounds insane, because it is. And these people are just as crazy as she is. And to kick it all off, I should have just followed the money from the start. I should have followed the money and just looked up the money. And there was a lot of money to be made here, because as you can look at her GoFundMe right here, she's making a ton of money to try to fight aliens, okay? How stupid are people to just throw their money at this woman? And then she's trying to sell people these orgone rocks with these orgone blasters that's supposed to save you from aliens who might try to attack you, or these alien demons, who the way she speaks about them. And then she claims to kill one in her bathroom with a super soaker. And she's selling this stuff on her website. So this should go to show you how all these people are just frauds. Now, duping people out of their money is one thing. But when you start a ministry that's actually a cult, and you're recruiting people over the internet, and then you're telling these people that you're a god, you're a prophet, that you speak to gods, and that you know these future events that's supposed to come to pass, these people want to start listening to you. It's a cult mentality, and you see a lot of it on YouTube involving the Kanika case. But never mind that. Let's just listen to some of the people that used to follow her and what they had to say about being duped.
Several years ago, I visited Sherry Shiner's website and bought her orgone and planted it in my yard. I feel very stupid about it now. stupid thing to do, and can't believe I did it. But since then, I started having bad dreams. I was having dreams of UFOs and aliens and all kinds of crazy stuff that I never had before. That was in 2007. After I planted Oregon, I started noticing my photos had orbs in them. Orbs in the house, orbs in the yard, and they were very active. And I found in my pictures that I was taking that I had spirit faces in the background. Spirit faces in the trees, spirit faces in the fireplace. Actually, evil spirits in the fireplace looking at me while I was taking the photographs of them. And none of this happened until I planted Sherry Schreiner's organ. And I would like to tell everyone not to go to Sherry Schreiner's website and not to buy anything from her because it is full of demons. And I want to thank you for listening to my testimony. Goodbye.
Because I used to be a supporter of Sherry Schreiner, and so a couple others, but we got kicked to the curb, and now we have all these lies that are being said on us. Like, for example, FBI, high-level witches, and all this crazy stuff. It's insane. These people that literally worship Sherry Schreiner, they don't question her at all. They believe everything she says, everything. But now her straight-up worshipers, they have lost their minds. It's hard to get mad at a crazy person. Maybe at first they were researched of truth, but until they started worshiping this woman, that's when they lost it. They've lost it. Just look at their comments. They're out of their minds. And I just learned that that Marianne woman who supports her, she bought Sherry that 6 acres of land. That doesn't sound like worship? Well, it is. They're no longer truthers. They are worshipers of Sherry Schreiner.
Now, things started going downhill when Sherry started preaching to her followers about her end of days prophecies, her Bible codes, and her doomsday that was on its way. And she would put out these newsletters to all these people that, as you can see, were kind of mentally disturbed as it was. But now, look what happened here. Now, this is Kelly, and she was a follower of Sherry Schreiner. And Sherry Schreiner had this girl so brainwashed with her doomsday prophecies and her end of the world predictions that this woman killed herself. She became super obsessed, according to the family, with Sherry Schreiner's teachings and her quote-unquote religion, and it drove this woman to kill herself. And Sherry Schreiner went on her website and told her followers that a NATO death squad killed this girl. But she wasn't the only victim. Check this out. Now, this is Steven and his wife Barbara. They were heavy in the Sherry Schreiner's cult. And then one day they had a disagreement with Sherry, and they were kicked out of the cult. Once they were kicked out of the cult, Sherry sent the rest of her followers to attack Steven and his wife. So Steven started making these videos exposing what she was doing to him. She tried to convince Steven that his wife was a reptile and an alien and a demon. And she had all her friends and everybody on Facebook turning against them and saying the same thing. She pretty much drove him crazy.
Steve, and I've been
and then for
trying to get
something
things
really
done for
tragic to
Yahweh and his son
happen.
Yahushua.
Let's hear what she did.
A long time now. And for many years, I've been asking the Most High to bring the right one in my life. And he answered that prayer. I'm married to a woman named Barbara, and he has answered multiple prayers with her alone. And his friends can see that she's a blessing by the Most High. They're saying, "Oh, he rewarded you, yada yada." And I know it's clear as day that she's a blessing by the Most High. I have supported Sherry Schreiner since 2004. Before that, pretty much been with her since the beginning. I listen to the information that she says. I listen to all her shows pretty much. I have multiple videos on my channel that got probably over 200,000 views that promote Sherry and helps get the truth out in general. And my wife Barbara is a huge help when it comes to that. She made a lot of things possible that I wasn't able to do. Just recently, a lot of false claims have been accused on Barbara, which are not true. According to Sherry Shriner, everybody was growing suspicious of her. They're saying these things like she's a reptilian. Jenna is one of these scoundrels that started filling Sherry's head with this nonsense. Sherry thinks that Barbara is a reptilian because Barbara posts pictures of food on her Facebook account. Disrespectful. And I asked Sherry, how can she be a reptilian when there's Orgon in the room with her? If she wasn't human, it affected her. It would have done something. And then Sherry says, oh, they can block or convert it, which that doesn't make any sense. Because if that's true, then how is our Orgon having any effect at all? Because that means they can all do that.
This right here is a picture Steven posted of Barbara sleeping, and he put these Orgon cubes on her to see if she would turn into a reptile. This is how crazy she had this guy going. Now this back and forth text conversation was one of the last conversations Sherry and Steve had with each other. And after this conversation happened, things got way out of control, and the unthinkable happened right after this message.
We begin tonight with a deadly shooting in Monroe County and the bizarre motive which police say was behind that homicide. Detectives say Barbara Rogers claimed her boyfriend wanted to die because of problems he was having with an online cult. Newswatch 16 Suzanne Goldklang has the story.
Steven Mineo flew a flag with the Roman numeral 2 outside his residence near Tobyhanna, an outward sign of his unusual beliefs. On Facebook, he posted about conspiracies, doomsday preparations, and getting right with God. Police in Monroe County believe Mineo's online activities may have played a role in his death at the hands of his girlfriend, Barbara Rogers. Neighbors were startled when gunfire rang out in the early morning hours.
Like, all I heard was bop, 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 bop. And I was thinking just him setting firecrackers off or something, his normal, you know, because I actually said hi to them last night.
Detectives believe Rogers shot Mineo once in the forehead at close range, then called 911. Investigators were on the scene for more than half the day.
It's the last thing you expect, you know.
Friends say Mineo had spoken of getting involved in an online cult and wanting to break away after finding it didn't fit his beliefs.
They dropped them because they were too far out to the, you know, instead of being religious, they were just a cult thing, so they got rid of that.
But that break may not have been clean. Rogers told police that problems with the group led Mineo to want to die.
They were super religious people, so I don't know what could have got in their mind.
Rogers is locked up in Monroe County. Suzanne Goldklang, Newswatch 16.
Jamie, police say they are now looking into claims that the boyfriend was deathly afraid of some people online. So scared, in fact, that he wanted to die.
That the deceased was having online issues with a cult, and he wanted to be killed and requested she do it.
Police say they did find some information online that there may in fact be a cult involving someone named Shirley.
Information was provided by the defendant at this point, and we will be looking into whether her allegations and the problems that he was having with the cult.
Now, you would think that after causing someone to kill themselves, that she would had enough and showed some remorse. No. She told everybody he was killed by NATO, just like the last time. And then she went on to make a video like this to her followers.
So this appears to be like clone number 4 of Barb Rogers that I know of. Clearly you can see she's morphing, she's synthetic. Look at the palms, folks. Look at the palm of her hands from wrist. Look at her wrist. Her face is melting. It's very blurry. Her hand morphs in and out in all of her pictures. Look at her pinky. This is the first thing I noticed. And then look at the length of this palm. This was taken, these are the ones she had with Steven online. These are her mug shots when she was arrested. 2 different people, folks. I mean, come on, folks. These are 2 different people. The one dating Steve, the one arrested. What's going on here? What's the game? Total psyop, folks. Total psyop.
So now that we see what type of woman she truly is, let's see how she tried to bring these same mind control manipulation techniques over into the J4K community. Now let's listen to Sherry as she tries to convince us that there's a baby's head on a cart and maybe an arm. Let's see.
Guy's gonna come out of here with a cart, and on these towels is ice. Look, that's a head. That is a head. Alright, so I paused it and slowed it down so you guys can see it. All you analysts could grab pictures and do your thing. Oh, I think I'm having a heart attack. Alright, so watch this, because he's going to do a sleight of hand when he gets up here by the camera. He's going to pick it up out of the cart so you don't see it. That almost looks like an arm, don't it? And a head, and an arm. My chest is hurting. Okay, watch this. See that little baby's head in that bag? It's like in a bag and it's on top of ice here or something. Looks like ice. Maybe it's just plastic. Considering the room it's coming from, this is the chop room. Or the science room. I don't know. The backpack room was in here all the time. Now watch this. See that head in that bag? That little baby head? I'm gonna die if I'm right. I hope I'm not. I hope I'm just seeing things. See, look at that head. Look at that head. And it looks like it's got a little white cap on it, but I need the smarter people to figure that one out. Oh, that looks like a baby, folks. That looks like a little baby. Now watch this sleight of hand, because he doesn't want the camera to catch it. He knows the camera's over here. These criminals are always cautious of these cameras, so what I did was raise it up. So you guys can get a better look and get pictures and do your thing. Oh, man. You see, he's trying to hide it from the camera. So he's gonna pick it up out of that cart and he carries it. Oh, but I caught you. I caught you.
See where this is going now?
Okay.
Now in this next one, she's going to try to convince us that there's shapeshifters running through the Crown Plaza.
Okay, guys. I want to teach you how to spot shapeshifters. You see this guy coming in and he's starting to blur out. When they start getting blurry like that, it's pretty much of a telltale sign that they're dimensional beings, because they show up blurry on tapes. Now they all freak out over these cameras up, and you'll see them clench their teeth whenever they get close to one. It's because they have to try to hold their form. They're afraid they're going to lose form. I noticed it on all of them. They get real apprehensive around cameras. Now look at this guy. He's already starting to lose his leg. Starting to lose his arm. See that? His hand's gone. His foot's gone. Comes back up. His face is getting blurred out. His hand's shifting here. Look at that. He pretty much loses his leg. A lot of these shifters, when they hit this wall, they become transparent. It's pretty crazy. This one's not too bad, but look at his leg. And then look at the camera. They hate the cameras. Yeah, they're both shifters. They're both looking at the camera. Lost his foot. He's gonna lose his face. See, he just lost his face. So's this guy, he's losing his. See that? You can still see the brown trim through his face. What's this? See that? The shadowing? It's because they're holographs. Both of them are shifters. He lost his hand. I can see his stump. Wait, okay, here comes our favorite shifter. Look, the construction guy. He's gonna totally start shifting out. See, he starts blurring on his feet. He's gonna lose his face, lost his leg. See, he just totally loses his face every time he turns that corner.
Now she's going to convince us that they didn't just find Kanika in the freezer, but they found the baby in the freezer. Check it out.
Okay, look what I found, guys. I know you probably can't see my cursor, but what is that cop holding? Look at that. Head, body, legs. What is he holding? That looks like a baby to me. Look at that. He came out of the freezer. Look, you can see the butt, and the legs, and the head. He came out of the freezer carrying it. These guys are so crooked, folks. Rosemont cops, reptiles, cover-ups, liars. Look at that. They try to pixel it out, but you can see it's a baby.
And in this clip, Sherry just found the people wheeling around buckets of ice with heads in them.
It's filling it with ice. And they're gonna freeze the tape again. There you go. For about another 7 or 8 seconds. Whenever they froze the tapes, they put something in that can. You're gonna see it for a split second. I think it's a head. I think there's a body in there. See that? There's something round sticking out of the side of the can. See that? And he's gonna place a towel over it. Look. Now he's gonna wheel it this way. And they're gonna do their editing magic. By the time they get to the top of the screen, they're gonna flatten all that out so it no longer looks round. See how round it is? Now they're gonna do their editing magic and flatten it out so it looks like a straight edge off the can. See how they do that? Right there. And they just flattened it out so it looks like some just straight edge up off the can. Is that a body in there, folks? Or a head? I think so. I wouldn't put it past them.
And in this clip, she wants you to believe that Teresa Martin's face is exploding when she got the news about Kanika being found in a freezer.
Now watch when she comes flying out of here. Look at that. Look at her face. Look at her face. Look at the shading. She looks like she has a beard. Now look at it. Full beard. And now watch. You're going to watch her face explode. Look at this. Look at her mouth. Look at her nose. This is the craziest stuff I've ever seen. No hand. No hand. Look at her face just split. Look at the mouth, the nose. Crazy. Look at that. Look at that. Still no hand. Still no face. This is crazy. Look at that. Her face just explodes. And look at Lenora. Her hand's doing a shifting thing. Her face is starting to explode. Look at the shading on her mouth. She looks like she has a beard. The left side of her head's going. I mean, look at her. Her mouth's splitting. And then, oh, see, here we go again. Close up. Look at the shading. The beard, the mouth. No eyes. How do you run with no eyes open? Look at this. No hand unless she has it buried up underneath. But then where's the rest of her arm? This is crazy. This is one of the biggest facial explosions I've ever seen.
And if you don't think that's crazy enough, look what she said about Zach TV.
Okay, so watch this, guys. Look. This is Zach Stoner, Zach TV, same guy. Look, he's got a boob. He's a tranny. Look. I'll just pause this. Look, there's a boob. And he's got his hair covering the other side to cover that one. That's why he wears the long dreads, to hide his boobs. Anyway, I just thought that was crazy.
Now you can go and search Sherry Schreiner's YouTube page and see all the stuff for yourself. It's far more on there than I showed in this video, and it's all crazy. It gets crazy after crazy the more you watch it. Now the funny thing that happened as I was finishing this up was Beach Beauty 35, one of Sherry Schreiner's followers, posted this video claiming that Sherry Schreiner died. The problem with that was her info is based off of this one message that was on Facebook. Now this message is more worried about how you send them money than they are telling you any information about how this woman died. They're telling you to send money in envelopes with aluminum foil wrapped around them and everything else, and it just sounds like a cash grab to me. Because the more I searched Google for information of her death, the less I found. There's no obituary, there's no nothing. I couldn't find anything other than that one thing from Beach Beauty, this one message on Facebook, and some message in a message board from some religious faction. Nothing official, nothing that I could find. And you know, the one message you need to take away from this whole situation is don't follow false prophets. Don't get sucked in by these frauds that's trying to use Kanika Jenkins' name to make money. Don't let these idiots brainwash you. As you saw in this video, this woman was completely crazy, and she found a bunch of other crazies to follow her until it got very, very, very dangerous. This isn't a game. This is real life. Don't get sucked into YouTube drama. And that'll be it for this episode. We'll see you in the next episode of the Darkside of J4K. I'm Random News. Please like and subscribe to the video. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.